What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Doveman Plus Care, and being part of that journey, the team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We are broadcasting live June 27th, 2026, the last June in 2026, last Saturday in June in 2026. Let me correct that. The last Saturday in June 2026. And we are getting, the summer weather has hit. Summer officially started last Sunday, which was Father's Day. And now they're predicting Toronto, where I'm based, is going to have some hot, hazy, and humid weather for the next week or so, which will probably be the only time we get it all summer. But hey, we'll take it. And we are broadcasting. It is Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa. And for those who are regulars or those who may not be regulars, Aisha K. Staggers and LaLa Key are taking a little bit of a hiatus over the summertime, but they are going to be back. They tell me they're going to be back probably mid to late summer. But we're very blessed to have a number of friends of Aisha and LaLa who said, hey, we'll fill in while they're taking a well-deserved break. And one of their absolute favorites is a lady named Dr. Tachi. Hello, Dr. Tachi. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Let me say it the way you say it. Blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problems.
And Black Alicious.
Yes,
all right,
that
there we go. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? That's a more important question.
Well, both of us. I'm outstanding. And we're very blessed to have Dr. Tachi on, but as I was telling her in the green room, I have never seen her online on shows in a long time, as much as this week. Every time in my feed, Dr. Tachi, Dr. Tachi, Dr. Tachi, which is a beautiful thing. I'm going, wow, will she have any energy and room for us today?
This was the week, for some reason, everybody decided to have their shows and have me on as a guest, which is great because of course, you have to prepare, but I don't have to run things. So that's always good. It's a little bit of a respite for me.
Yeah, you can sit back and enjoy. Like people like you and I, we host a lot of shows and all that. And sometimes it's nice to sit back and just relax. Don't have to prep, just answer what's given to us and etc. So it's a good thing. What's been going on? Give us a win you've had this week, other than being on all these shows.
Well, those were the wins. those were the wins that I got to have time with people I really respect in this space on their shows. That's always a great thing. I always say we are who we have in this space, so we have to support each other and try and have each other on our respective shows. So I'm glad that I was able to participate this week. Yeah. That's a win.
I have a question for you that and people ask me this and I give them this answer. You and I have been in this space for a while.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How does it feel when you see people that you had as guests or invited on as guests in their early days now starting their own shows?
It feels fantastic because that's the whole purpose of what we do. For you and I and some other people, it's not just about being seen. It's about providing opportunities and teaching people. When we say the next generation of media makers or independent media makers, that doesn't mean younger, right? That means the next generation of people who are willing to step up to the task of having their voices heard and making the space better, as I like to say, right? Yeah. So I love to see that. There's room for all of us, and I applaud. In fact, I always tell people, don't wait, start now. Just start where you are and then worry about getting better down the line. So I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, because we've seen a number of people grow And I have a question for you. How did you and Gwendolyn get together? And then how did that turn into her doing her show? I'm very curious about that.
You mean the show that we saw, or
Well, no, well, she does regular streams, but she invites you. How did you two cross paths?
Oh gosh. So this is probably about 2 years ago on Ron Foster's show. She and Ron worked together at the Container Store in New York City years ago. So they've known each other probably for a good 15, 20 years, if not.
Wow.
And so
Okay.
because I was watching Ron's show, which we got connected because he was watching one of my streams. So because of that, then you would see Gwendolyn in the chat, we would talk, and then it just got to be a full bloomed friendship. So that's
Okay.
how that happened.
And that's what, Dr. Tachi was talking about, the way it just goes down the line. Goes down the line, because you
Exactly.
didn't know Gwendolyn before Ron, right? It was Ron
I
and
did
Gwendolyn.
not.
You didn't know
I did
any of them.
not.
So that's
No,
wild.
no, and to the point of really having other people enter the space and carry on the space. Gwendolyn was not a live streamer necessarily before. She was a photographer. But I always tell people that photographers make the best cinematographers because they already have a concept of what framing is like, what we call mise en scène, the look of the scene is like. So
Okay.
they're perfect for it. So this was a perfect place for Gwendolyn to get, and she's just amazing. And by the way, if I could brag a little bit, she just passed her, I think it's called a level 1 wine something. I'm not a wine drinker, so I don't know. So it's
Wow.
like, when you're on your way to becoming a wine sommelier.
Okay.
So she's level 1. She's now studying for level 2 because, as you know, she's got a show called Let's Wine a Little on IndieSoup Media. So I'm excited for her.
There may be one or two people that I'd wanted to meet.
I knew.
Yeah, actually, yeah, even though there's a gentleman I know in the Ontario area who's had his own winery for 15
Oh,
years.
wow.
Steve Byfield. Yeah, I think that'd be a good conversation on her show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you guys are not in touch, I will put you in touch.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? We could chat about all the people that we've met, introduced, shared, etc. And also big shout out to the food plane as always. I know he's always around. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll do some housekeeping. Then we got a number of different conversation topics to chat about today. So we'll be right back.
College Black Men Can Talk live on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe, Kofi Sadat, and Kofi Morris come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community from a Black Canadian man point of view.
Watch Primetime Saturdays on Saturdays 5 p.m. Eastern, where Aisha K. Staggers and LaLa Key try to make sense of the nonsense in American politics and culture.
Okay, we are back. Let's get to it. Girlfriends Chat with Aisha, LaLa, and Jill Jones at Patreon. The link is there. There's the show on Substack. And when they get back, we're going to push them to YouTube. Please and thank you. And Primetime Saturday Store the link is there. Join our Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or the link is there. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Then, if you want to advertise your business on any of the platforms I'm a part of, email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And now it's Dr. Tachi's turn.
So you heard me talking about it before. IndieSoup Media is an independent network for independent content creators. And we are on hiatus right now, but we'll be back shortly. But in the meantime, please go to @IndieSoup Media on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch a plethora of the great content we have. There are 30 shows, and you can watch them on demand.
There you go. So let's get to our first conversation.
One of them.
Oh yeah, I am one of them. Yeah, that's true. Once in a while, I'm just joking. I know it's coming that I'm gonna have some editing to do, so I'm I think I'm gonna have to go start doing that now, because I know when you put it out there, bam. So better get that going. All right. So let's talk our first conversation piece. 47 cancels housing bill signing, Save Act Showdown. So what I'm gonna do, we'll talk about, this is really, well, nothing's boring in America these days. So just reading a story here. 47, the president of the United States abruptly canceled a planned signing of bipartisan housing affordability bill last Wednesday in America, threatening to withhold it until lawmakers pass the Save America Act, a voting measure he's labeled, quote, a national emergency. Even though there's been no proof of any voter fraud, or very little, minute, but the decision stalls legislation aimed at boosting home construction and easing costs, even after it cleared both chambers by wide margins. Both Democrats and Republicans agreed to something in the American government. And he also said, 47 said, he dismissed the housing bill of, quote, of minor importance. What, Dr. Tachi, what is going on? Housing is of minor importance in America?
You're asking me like this administration makes sense and like I have the answers to this. I do not. But it goes to show that we've got people in, and I'm not even just going to blame Mr. Him, as I'll call him. I'm not going to just blame him. This also trickles down to the people we have in Congress, other people in, whether it's state, city, or state government. Many of these people are so far removed from what's happening with the average American that it's very easy for them to say of minor importance. And this, by the way, if people are upset now, we saw Mike Johnson going on a tirade about, they can sweep this thing. They're going to win if they're going to investigate you. You hear the urgency and the fear in their voice of that. These conditions is exactly what leads to a Mamdani winning overwhelmingly in New York City. And you see what he's been able to do thus far. And I know this is two totally separate. We're talking about federal versus, I understand that. But voters don't differentiate in their minds when it comes to voting. It's almost all, unless you're a very savvy, educated voter, it's almost one block. So you see, especially when we see city and state officials that have been supporting this administration, and you see what has happened or what has not happened, and then you've got a shining beacon or someone who seems to be a shining beacon coming in, and you wonder why people are overwhelmingly in support of these things. You see very positive commentary on social media on the thing. And by the way, Mamdani's office is very, very active on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Very active. From the campaign all the way through now. In fact, today I just saw him, New York City pools open today officially, because they usually open like the first day of somewhere around that first day of summer. So they open and he jumped in the pool with a suit on. So it's that type of thing where people wanting to get back to the, quote, normalcy of niceness, the normalcy of congeniality, and a government that, even if it doesn't work well, at least it wasn't actively trying to bury people. That's why you get this, and that's why you had the win in DC as well.
How does it make you feel when the current president of the United States says affordability, housing is not a major issue, and voting is a more important issue? The voting system is a more important issue.
It makes me think that you or Mr. Him is more focused on how they can manipulate results. Because listen, nobody redoes whether it's a mansion or the White House, nobody puts effort into redoing it and tearing up things unless they intend to stay. Just kind of look at the way things, the destruction of the East Wing and the ballroom, that monstrosity of an arch that is in front, that was from Hee Haw, the musical, on the front lawn.
Oh my gosh.
Look at all of those things. And those are the actions of somebody that, when you're doing construction on your own home, you're there. So you kind of take a little bit of time. This is exactly the way he is behaving, right? So to him, he's looking to stay there for the long haul. And he said this before. We don't have to worry, to his constituents, we don't have to worry about elections again. It's been said before. So it's clear that he intends to stay. Therefore, of course, elections are going to be of more importance than housing or other, because he doesn't give a damn about you. He has a house. He's trying to stay in the house that that he currently occupies. He doesn't care about you. The unfortunate thing is that the people that are his base are still drinking the Flavor Aid to think that he really, because it wasn't Kool-Aid, it was Flavor Aid, to think that he actually genuinely cares. That's the unfortunate. So it makes me feel like he's concentrating on that because he's trying to stay. The elections are a key thing, and not just, not him, it's the midterms, but people that are going to be his quote unquote allies.
You live in Florida, you live in the United States.
I do.
How much of a challenge or problem is housing in America from your lens?
Oh gosh, and this is really interesting that you bring this up. LaLa would have been a great person to speak about this as well. I too work adjacent to real estate because I do video and live streams and also social media content for realtors, one in particular. And because of that, I do an awful lot of research on real estate and housing in general, but particularly in the state of Florida, particularly South Florida. South Florida, if I could just talk about where we are now.
Sure.
South Florida is so prohibitively expensive for people that really want to stay and make a life here. Never mind that we don't have the levels of industry that are in other places. There's a lot of wealth here, but in my head, that's like kind of secondhand wealth, if that makes any sense. It's not primary wealth that was really so much gained here. For some, it is primary wealth. But then you have a lot of people who move down here because they may have been on Wall Street or may be on Wall Street still, and they have this second home down here, or they have another home down here. So the big industries here are real estate, banking, obviously medical, because it is a retirement hub as well. But we're also seeing a reverse trend of people that are retired, right, that move down here for the Florida lifestyle, but are now moving farther north to places like South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee, because it's less expensive than Florida is, particularly South Florida. And you have, some of them may have grandchildren that live up there. So those are the two reasons you're seeing this backtracking, this exodus back sort of up north. So not all the way back to New York per se, but definitely farther away from Florida. So the housing crisis is definitely big here. I read a report the other day that was on, the Pew Research? I don't remember if it was Pew or if it was Real Deal, one of the real estate ones, but talking about, and they've been talking about this for a while, that this generation of Gen Z, the unaffordability, they can barely afford to live in an apartment by themselves. They can't buy homes, right? So there's an even larger wealth gap that is growing between people who have parents that can afford to give them down payments for homes, that can afford to buy apartments or whatever outright for the children, and those who can't, where they're like working to afford rent in a place they don't necessarily want to be, or they can't even leave home. They're still staying at home. So it's going back to this almost multi-generational thing, which for Americans, except for Americans of color, I will say that is not necessarily a thing, because generally non-melanated individuals in this country don't do multi-generational. I'm not going to say all don't, because there are certainly some who do, but that is not the normal way of doing it. They set up this country, the nuclear family, the 2.5 kids and the dog and the parents. And so that's what everybody has been going off of. Whereas if you, for example, you look at people of African descent, it is rare that you were not raised by a grandmother, that you did not play with your cousins, that everybody, that even if you're your play cousins or whatever, or this person is your auntie, they're not really related to you by blood, but you consider them family. So there's a difference there. So.
I'm speaking, and we'll get LaLa back on soon, and she will be back on soon. Because I was listening to another gentleman talk the other day about housing, and young people basically have given up on getting a house. More and more people have given up. Like young people right now, they've given up on a house because it's so far out of reach.
And it's extremely far out of reach. But here's the thing. If we look at traditional ways of living, there was something I was watching on YouTube where the parents bought, like, they built a house. Well, they bought land that was enough to build like 5 different houses on it, so that it was a compound, so that they could split the costs and all of that. So there was one main larger house and then smaller houses around that. And then you didn't have to worry about babysitting and things like that. The problem is lots of people don't want to do that. Young people may not want to do that. It requires a certain level of respect to live in the house with elders, and you are not an elder. And that's hard for some people. So thanks, Jen.
Yes, I see Jen is so fan number 1 is in the house. Jen Meyer says hello, everyone. He says, hey, Dr. Tachi, love the glasses.
Thank you.
In your opinion, Dr. Tachi, which is more of a challenge in America, housing or legitimate voting?
They're both problems, you know, because and you can't separate them. It's almost like asking chicken or egg, right? The voting definitely affects things like affordable housing, having access to housing. So if they're one and the same. So for me, I wouldn't say one is bigger than the other, because again, then you're not necessarily worried about so much how you vote when you're homeless, or unhoused, right? So I think they both are part and parcel of each other. They're both equally as important. The problem is people don't know how to walk and chew gum. You need to address all of this together, because these are all issues. They're all problems. I would say, though, as little as I know about the voting system, I don't see rampant voter fraud. It is too difficult to commit fraud. Let me speak about where I am. You're constantly checking. You have to sign. Here's your. I don't know how and who commits such fraud. So I'm not going to say there is none, but the rampant that they claim, it's fallacy. It's absolute fiction and a fable.
Do you feel that because 47 still says that he didn't lose the 2020 election, he's still trying to drive this thing home about this voting, I didn't lose.
Yes, because it doesn't matter that he is in office now. He still is carrying the weight of I didn't lose, because he has to win all the time. This is a character trait of his, right? From what I can see, he is the type of person that always must win. And if for some reason he doesn't, there's an external locus of control reason as to why. So the reason he didn't win couldn't be because people didn't want him. That's impossible. Everybody loves him. We all love him. No, we love it. It's impossible. There's no way he could have legitimately lost unless there was fraud. So this is the thought process that appears to be going on in not just his head, but the heads of those that support him. But again, how stupid is that? You support him. Of course, you think there was some sort of fraud, but it's been proven there was no fraud.
Yeah, it's just really interesting that He's actually holding up the process of American government unless it's done his way.
Yeah, exactly. To the point of signing this bill, when you have something that has overwhelming support, overwhelming bipartisan
From
support,
both parties.
and this has not happened.
How often does that happen in American government, federal government these days?
Never.
Right.
Never. These days, never. So the fact that you have that, it's almost like, it almost seems like you are happy when people are not agreeing, when there are disagreements. Let's just look at it in terms of a unity thing. If I use Africa as an example, it pleases the West when there is infighting on the continent. Hence, right now, this whole thing with South Africa, they're very pleased. So I'm like, South Africans, I need you to get a clue. I know you still have your country run by outsiders, and we could say that's the case with a lot of Africa, but your outsiders actually live there. So I don't care how long they've been there, they're outsiders. So unfollow me if you don't agree. So when you look at it in that sense, where there is joy and glee because of the infighting, because it means that you won't notice me try to slide in and do some things. So let's take that example and put it here. If Republicans and Democrats are fighting against each other, this means he basically has free reign to do what he wants because we're busy attacking each other. Divide and conquer.
So crazy because the Democrats and Republicans are having ready to have a big announcement about this, and an hour before, 47 says, "I'm not signing it. I'm not." Jeez. I know you're not too heavy a political pundit. Do you think 47 will get his way on this one? Because if he does, and what he's asking for is to change the filibuster, which is a whole other conversation in itself. But do you think, because it seems the media, a lot of the major media saying slowly but surely, the Republicans that are giving pushback and the ones that are already pushing back are ones that he got supported people against their being reelected. So do you feel that he'll eventually get his way?
Well, so it depends. I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to say this, that all of what is happening is dependent on how long we as the constituents put up with it. And frankly, we're tired. That's even people that are supporters are tired. I mean, they voted for it, so good for them, but they're also tired. So if you have someone that is representing you in Congress and you are tired of the nonsense, you're not going to put up for very long with all of this stuff. So I can see some of these members of Congress holding out at least for a little while because they're hearing it from constituents. Constituents are in their ears, believe me. So I'm not going to say no, but I know that there is definitely pushback because we as a populace are tired.
Well, I guess another part of it too is a lot of these congressmen are worried about re-election that's coming up in November, whereas 47 doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I will comments here. So someone is saying, agreeing with you. Yes, it's already happened. It says supposedly it's veto proof. I did hear that 47 can't veto this apparently.
Yeah, I heard that, but does that matter where we live? Does that matter? We live in bizarro world now, so none of that really matters.
Understood. And the same person saying agree. So if someone agreeing with you, yeah, I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what happens down the road with this legislation. Yeah. All right, let's go to another conversation topic.
Okay.
The question, will this ever end? Will this war ever end? So this week, the memo of understanding is taking another hit. Apparently a day or so ago, Iran hit a ship, and then the U.S. bombed Iran back. And they're going back and forth, and now we're seeing, is this war ever going to settle unless someone takes a real aggressive side, who knows what's going to happen with this war? Dr. Tachi, what are your thoughts? Because it seems like every half hour there's a new update going on with this war.
Yes, and there are live updates. For example, if you're looking on even though I'm not a fan of CNN anymore, if you're looking on the CNN website, they have like these live updates that are happening. CTV, yes. I think in this day and age, if we can look outside the US for news, unless we're doing independent, that is the best way to go. I honestly think that the deciding factor for all of this is money. The Strait of Hormuz is in the way of money being made. That, as we know, is the major waterway where the majority of the world's oil comes through, and other things, but oil is gold in this case. I don't see it. I'm backing down. And out of ego, I also don't see the US trying to back down. So they're at an impasse right now. It will have to come to the point that it really is not even the world, the US, because that's all the US cares about. The US is in dire straits in terms of what they are not able to get for there to be some resolution. And then, of course, there'll probably be lies of, oh, we have the best deal ever. This is so we won't know whether or not it's the truth. But I think it's hard to say. I think they're both very staunch in their conviction in terms of this, but something catastrophic in terms of a resource will have to occur for that to happen. And I can probably say it's not going to be on Iran's side.
Well, from what many a person is saying is 47 wants to get out of this as fast as possible. He wants out. And many a pundit said the agreement he signed was worse than the one that Barack Obama had with Iran. And then 47 tore up when he got into office.
But let's be clear on why that happens, because he has to be the one to broker any deals to show that he is actually the one doing things, that this happened because of me. All of this wealth, this happened because of me. He has to be the one to do it. So if somebody else's name is on it, he's going to tear it up and maybe even do the same thing just to say it was him. Why do you think? See, all of this is pure ego. Why do you think he wanted to sign those checks that went out, whatever checks they were that went out? Why do you think he wants his face on the $100 bill? Why do all of this is ego play? Passports, his face on passports, his name on the Kennedy Center, which is now taken down. He needs to see his name
right, because it's taken out, allegedly taken out. They haven't taken down the covering of it. The scaffolds that last I heard were still there, but
we're still there, but the name is down. That's all that matters. The name is down. And journalists were able to take pictures to show that the name is gone. That for him is more embarrassing than anything. He has to have his name in lights wherever he goes. That's honestly quite sad, and that's a huge problem. And it's a huge problem because that's how you then act upon the world and act upon the office when you get there. The same, what was the name of his show? Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
Right. So he has to be the same, The Apprentice executive producer that he has to see his name in lights at all times. And that's problematic because now it's starting to affect world affairs.
Let's say the war isn't ending, but let's say it ends in the next few weeks.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Do you feel by the time the midterms come, Americans will forget about it?
No. We have very short memories in the US. Very short memories. But this is the first time that there has really been authoritarian rule in the EU. You can argue for other presidencies, but this is the first time there has been a real move, or not even a move, real authoritarian rule. This is the first time. And I think people are annoyed, they're weary, and their pockets are not going to recover quickly from this. So they'll remember. If you want to make people annoyed and remember you, all you have to do is hit them in the pockets. And all this whole thing, even though it doesn't seem like it, the entire thing is about money. All of this is a money play. So now you're messing with our money.
I don't know if I agree with you on that. I think depending when the war ends, I think Americans who vote will forget about it and have very short memories. The only thing about what's going on.
I don't think so. Coming to you as somebody who's here, no. We may try to move on from this because to wallow in it is not going to do any good. But he has decimated national monuments. He has decimated the economy. These are things you don't forget. Maybe down the road, but immediately, no. The only people who will be even willing to forget, or not even forget, they'll remember, but they'll try and defend, are his Flavor Aid drinking cronies.
My good. Just out of curiosity, how much has gas gone up down at where you are in Florida?
Ooh, listen. So this is why it's good not to be flashy and drive a Range Rover that costs $70 million to fill. I almost don't have a good idea of it because I drive a 23-year-old Toyota Corolla and I work from home. So I'm not driving around very much. So sometimes I can keep that same tank of gas for a month. So,
wow.
Because I also live in an area that is extremely walkable and everything is around. I live within a mile radius of a mall, of grocery stores, of entertainment. Everything is right here. So I don't have to drive very far if I don't want to. So the last time I filled up last month, I think it was at $4 something per gallon. And again, I was livid because I have never in life, since having a car, paid $50 to fill my car ever. And I've always had Corollas. This is the first time I was like, $50? I've never had to spend that. So I think it was like at 4, and I was like on E. So it was like at 4, like $4 something per gallon, which is, exorbitant. But of course it's because of what is happening.
Allegedly.
Yeah. That you got that right. Supposedly.
I always find it very interesting that the price we're paying at the pump now, the price that was paid for that gas compared to what it's sold at, right?
Yeah.
I always
trying to make money.
Yeah, it's just, and then
it's
I heard
business.
And then 40, I heard 47 this week saying he's going to have an investigation launched to price fixing by gas companies. A little late. And also too, unfortunately, all those are his buddies.
Well, exactly. And so, it's like, oh yeah, oh no, gas prices are going up. Oh no, he's not serious about investigating because those are his cronies, okay? But there's also pushback, which is why he's even talking about that at all. And of course, he's going to make it like it's not his fault.
Never is.
It never is his fault.
When he wins, he takes all the credit. When he doesn't win, it's someone else's fault.
It's called external locus of control. That is a psychology term that you attribute all things that are bad to outside forces, but everything that is good is your own doing.
Up to this point with this war, who do you think has won and who do you think has lost?
Nobody has won. It may sound cliche, but nobody wins when it comes to war. If it comes to the point, first of all, this was all unnecessary and contrived because somebody wanted to be the center of attention and somebody wanted to have a win. And sometimes you have to start things in order to win something, right? You don't win if you don't play the game. So that's exactly what he's doing. What they don't realize that this is an extremely dangerous game to play. You notice we're not getting numbers of injuries and things like we did at the. Does that mean nobody's been injured? Not at all. Not at all. So nobody wins in all of this. Because it's not the people who are levying all these wars. They're not responsible for carrying them out. It's the citizens, enlisted citizens, that are responsible for that. And then enlisted citizens, but then we're also suffering as well. Because look what happens. Gas is one thing. Look what happens with some of these other things that happen because of war.
Fertilizer,
right? Anything that could not get through the straits, those are. And so, if you don't have fertilizer, that also affects food, right? It affects the food supply.
Yeah, exactly.
So, enlisted people are suffering definitely because nobody wants this. I don't think anybody who's enlisted actually wants to. They're willing to defend. But I don't think anybody wants to go to war, especially not one that is cockamamie.
Wow.
So nobody wins nobody has won.
Do you feel at the end of the 60 days, there'll be meaningful progress?
Again, to me, that depends, right? I am not the foremost world affairs person, but I think that really depends on how much grief and pushback they get from us. Because again, we really only seem to care when it directly affects us at home. So when you have, just think about any of the other struggles or conflicts that have happened in the world. When you have people that you know that are enlisted, it affects you personally. But if you don't, you may be like, oh gosh, we're in a war again. But it may not hit you as hard until you realize that because we're in this war, now we don't have this product. We don't have product A, B, C, or D. So I'm going back to the whole thing of, I really think this is going to hinge on how hard this continues to hit the American people and how hard they push back and how tired of it they get. Because there's no patriotism in this, if that makes any sense.
Do you feel the Americans should be shouting and pushing back harder than they are?
Yeah, I think so. And I think so with everything that has happened. And part of the thing is they're waiting for a certain group of people to push back. The ones who always do, and the ones who always do are saying, yeah, we're tired. We're not doing it. And because of that, you have a group of people who want to push back, but don't know how because they have never had to. Everything becomes a symbolic march, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that it's helpful, but then it needs to be followed by real action. And if you use the civil rights movement as a blueprint for these types of things, it wasn't just marching. They also organized boycotts. They also did what they could do on the church front. They did a lot of different things. So it was not just one movement. It was several different movements. But today it feels like people think, I can march and that's enough. It is not enough. It is not enough. So, yeah, I think they're waiting for us. And by the us, I'm saying the people who always get involved in the struggle, who always march, who always organize. They're waiting for the regular organizers to do that. But the regular organizers are on sabbatical. We're on break. We're taking our state mandated 10-minute break. It's or 10-year break. It's your turn. Go on. You go on the floor and work.
Wow. 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 That's For some Americans, they don't want to hear that.
That's what got us where we are now. Hiding head in the sand and not wanting to hear things. That is the problem. Listen, this country is the most cover things over with a Band-Aid and sweep it under the rug and don't talk about it country I have ever seen. And you could talk about other countries, but we do that so well here. Hide things under the rug and don't talk about it. That's what got us where we are. Because we refused to have a real conversation about the problems that exist here. We refuse to have a real conversation about the hatred and the bigotry that goes on here, which led that hate bill, which led to you having an oligarch in the office. That's what led to this. One of the things that led to this. But we don't have those conversations and we put it off on something else. Even the people who can't stand this will still not say that this was one of the majority, the defining factors of it.
It always reminds you of the line in A Few Good Men. Jack Nicholson, you know the line I'm talking about?
I can't remember. It's been a while. Tell me.
You can't handle
the truth. Yes. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Well, jazzy music. Okay, so we got some comments here. So we got, Jazzy Music says facts.
Hey, Jazzy.
Katrina, 1998. Hey, well, good to have you as always. She goes,
hey, Katrina.
It's not, she goes, I'm with you, sis. Another person saying following politics is neurotic. I think many people are feeling that these days.
Yes. And, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
No, I agree. And here's the thing. You have to, I'm not saying take politics with a grain of salt, particularly in this country. It's very real. You should know what is happening, at least enough to know when you need to run. You should know, but do not make yourself sick or crazy over this. You have to guard your peace. Know just enough, but don't get engrossed in it. I have to, because it will come across my timeline on social media. And I'm like, nope, not today. Unless it's something I absolutely need to know. And politics is actually very fascinating.
It is.
But when it comes to this side of politics, it's also very tiring. So guard your peace. This is for everyone. Don't inundate yourself with it. And, I always, for trolls that come in, I'm like, that takes so much energy. Now, I know there are bots that do that, but then there are also human trolls. That takes so much energy. Do you not think that you're going bonkers inside by agreeing to do these type of things? Listen, you could make way more money doing something legitimate and doing something else. Believe me.
Katrina says you are correct. So let me put this on you. If the Strait of Hormuz war, the Hormuz war, I call it these days, ended today, what would history say about it? What would Dr. Tachi's history book say about this war?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Well, it would tell the truth of what it actually is. And this is something that I actually fear in terms of the way history will be documented if it is left to the individuals that are currently making history, right? The way history is told is usually from the viewpoint of the victor, right? Or usually from the viewpoint of those in control, whether it's a victor or not. So that's what we don't want. We want the truth to be told. So if it were my history book, I definitely would tell the truth about what is happening, what is going on. And it is not a sanitized version that they like us to believe what we see. Even the news, and we already know mainstream media is not to be trusted. They've proved over and over and over for years, but especially now, that they cannot be trusted. And so what we are receiving is a sanitized version of what's actually happening. If it bleeds, it leads. So not only do we have we're almost at the point of state-sponsored media, we also have a commercialized system that is only interested in sensationalized headlines. So we're really not getting the truth that we need.
Katrina says, I used to get anxiety watching politics, especially this past election.
Oh, geez.
Another person saying 47 is a poop circus. There's no argument, although MAGA thinks so. Did you steal that term from Dr. Tachi's dictionary? He goes, they're blind and insufferable. And Katrina says they lie so much. The thing is, though, if people want things to change in America, they're going to have to take part in this midterm election.
Yes, well, and that's another thing. And I know, like, I'm trying to channel Aisha now because I know that this would be her sticking point, her big thing. And I understand that elections are not the entire thing. All of this boils down to money. Again, I'm going to say it for the fifth time. All of this boils down to money. But when you have, was it Louisiana, where they had, or no, Texas, where they had one election where so many, for example, Democrats just did not vote?
Yep.
What is that? This is, if you ask me, and this is part of the problem with taking civics out of the curriculum, it is your civic duty to shape the country. It really is. So the very least you could do, even if you don't do anything else, you don't help to register people to vote, you don't go to your city council meetings, you don't, you don't vote on certain measures when it comes, even if you do nothing else, could you at bloody least vote in these local, state, and federal elections, at the very least? But there are people who say voting doesn't make any difference. Okay, but has not voting helped you? Has that helped you? Are you rich now because you didn't vote? How did that work for you? There's a system in place, and though the system is broken, there's a system in place for a reason. At least, because if you don't exercise that right, then you have no need, you can't complain about things because you didn't at the very least do that to change it. Because here's the thing, people who don't vote also usually, in my experience, don't do a lot of other things. They're also, lazy when it comes to other things as well. So it's one thing if you're like, okay, I'm not going to vote, but what I am going to do is make sure that I'm doing service in my community, make sure they don't do that either. So you're useless all the way around.
Katrina says, I did a carpool to make sure people in my community were able to get out and vote.
Yes.
I have a feeling you're going to have to need to do it even more so for the upcoming midterms, because I think, oh boy, it's already heating up.
It is.
Well, now here's a good statement. Jazzy says, if voting doesn't matter, see SCOTUS. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Very. And you got to head into 47. Masterstroke move, getting the justices he wanted on the Supreme Court. Masterstroke move.
Well, and the thing is that too, you too, Mary Jane, could have had your way. But the thing is, we were too busy being nice and accommodating and reaching across the aisle. Let me tell you something. If you reach across to me, I'm slapping that hand back with a glove that has spikes on it. You're too busy trying to be nice and well liked. When President Obama had his Supreme Court pick, but see, that's when you're trying to follow the rules and do things right. Had you known, you should have just pushed him on through, because we didn't know that this level of chicanery was going to happen.
All right. Kachina says so many people don't vote during a local election. That's crazy to me. Can't complain about things not changing if you don't vote. Here's an interesting person saying here, I stopped voting Democrat due to COVID lockdowns. I stopped voting Republican due to Dobbs. I used to preach the same thing about voting now. Now I don't see the point.
No, and I understand. Believe me, I understand how it looks like nothing changes when you do vote. But I think we have to ask ourselves, are we promoting and then subsequently voting for the right people? I can look at some of these marionettes that exist in Florida, South Florida government, And I'm like, I don't know why you all voted for this person anyway, because you see they don't do anything else. You see them and they're available when you have an event. But what else are they actually doing? This is what we have to look at. So we get caught up in the glitz and the glamour of that type of thing. But is this person really, I don't care if they're your family member, are they really fit to hold office? Are they really going to do, has anything in their past shown that they would be a good leader or a good candidate now? We don't do that. Some people do, but a lot of us don't. So I think that, and I understand the frustration, because it's like, damn it, this is not changing, so why do it? But the problem is too many people say that. And often it comes down to just a few hundred votes.
True.
And if a few hundred people said, well, I'm not going to, that's exactly what happens. But I feel you on, it doesn't feel like anything is being done. But where it really matters is your local elections and your state elections. Those are the things that really matter. Too many people just wait for the federal elections before they do anything. Oh, I'm going to vote. You should have been voting several times this year. Because I know there were things on ballots where you live. And if you don't, at least at the local level, show your interest and try to do things in your community, those local races, that the judges are elected. That affects you directly. So I feel you, but
Katrina says not enough people voting. And, it comes back to what you said during this conversation about the removal of the civics courses in education.
Yeah.
Civics is being replaced by money.
Or lack of money, which is the reason for not having those kids. But money exists somewhere, they're just not funneling it to the school system. And this is the thing here in Florida. DeClantis, excuse me, did I say that? I did. They now have this law about removing property taxes.
Yes.
They don't want property taxes. And I was like, which one of you was hatched from an egg yesterday? Property taxes are exactly what pays for all the things you complain about. So the thing is, it's also part of the reason is also we're an individualistic society. So you don't give a damn if it doesn't affect you. So you don't see how this is the good of, you don't care about the good of the group. You care about the good of the individual. So you only care about, I don't have to pay property taxes, so I'm glad. Listen, property tax me all day. I don't have a child in the public school system here, but I want to make sure that they get what they need so they can be productive adults. And guess what? Don't come and rob me.
Point taken. Katrina says, I live in South Carolina and it seems like no one in office should be in office. Get Lindsey Graham out. Lindsey. Oh my gosh. And she goes, also KKK in South Carolina as well. Lindsey Graham. Oh my. Oh my. That's a whole other conversation.
That's another conversation.
Katrina, maybe one day, Katrina, we'd love to have you on the show. If you're ever on, we would love to.
Katrina, come on.
We would love. Katrina goes, he is a mess. That's what a lot of us up here. Yeah, we're going, whoa. Stay there, Lindsey. Don't come here.
But you know what? Here's the thing. People that support people like Lindsey Graham, they hate others, like quote unquote people of color, more than they dislike him. So they will take him and support him because the alternative is us, and that's what they don't want. And there's no strong reason for why you don't like, none whatsoever. You can't produce anything. That's why they're always doing that because they don't have a reason why.
Well, and so here we go. Katrina says correct. Also, another person says, doesn't matter who you vote for, birds of a feather flock together. and it's all smoke and mirrors. And some people would say that how much have blacks advanced supporting Democrats?
The same
There's a
amount
lot of
as the
Black
Republicans that
Pardon
they
me?
support. The same amount as the blacks who support the Republicans who have advanced. I see the thing of birds of a feather and two sides of the same coin. I definitely do. But I think it's less about the individual and more about the system that is set up, because it is very difficult to be an individual in this system, in this two-party system. One thing that we're seeing, and this again does not mean that he's perfect. I keep bringing up Mamdani because he is a democratic socialist. You're starting to see changes there, and people are starting to think, okay, and they said socialism was bad. They're starting to think differently about the party systems that we have. And it doesn't mean that you have to like him or agree with him, but you can agree that there are some things that are being done that were just lip service before under the other two.
Well, here's some comments. Katrina says the system is not made for us.
Which is why it's working exactly as it intended.
And then another person saying it's nothing more than a double-edged sword.
You're right. You're right. It's too difficult for, when you think about people who are teachers, right? There are teachers who make a tremendous difference. But then there are, they're trying to take on the entire system. And it is very difficult to change things systemically, extremely difficult. You'll be sitting there and fighting at city council meetings every day because it's so difficult to change things systemically. The only change you can really make is individually. So I almost feel for people who go into politics, because I would like to think, besides the ones who are just there for personal gain, the people who go in because they actually wanted to make real change, it's difficult because it's almost inevitable that you take on some of the traits of the machine because it's too difficult to fight against it. And when you do fight against it, you're shut down, sometimes permanently.
Okay, some more comments we got going here. So I'm saying I voted both ways, never seen a politician that does not lie. And then Christine also says, I vote not only my best interest, but for the interest of others, unlike most Republicans. Ouch.
I would go with that. I would agree with that.
Okay. But now, and I know you mentioned Muldowney a lot, but I think it's interesting. The results that he got from the people he supported in New York, I think that's more a New York thing, maybe down the road, than a Democratic thing.
Well, no, exactly. Well, he's a democratic socialist. So that's a separate wing of the Democratic Party, right? Most Democrats in this party are somewhere towards the center right, if that makes any sense. There are very few leftists of the, and even if you say, and Bernie Sanders is an independent, right? So, but he is more on the quote unquote socialist tip, but he's one person and he's old.
And it's interesting, and Katrina says correct. I'm now seeing more and more the news media saying, here's the Republicans, now they're going to start working on the socialism thing. Democrats are socialists. But the funny thing is, and I always bring this up, American government supports a lot of companies. Isn't that socialism?
Absolutely. Well, all of it is the fact that you have, when we have programs that work, because you are supposed to care about the social welfare of your citizens. Honestly, let me tell you, I would be embarrassed if I were the mayor of a city that had a trailer load of problems that were unsolved. That's a reflection on you. Yes, it is a reflection on the fact that there may have been years of things built up. But again, I also say, and I don't think that Mamdani is perfect. I don't know him to know, but I do know that you have a balanced budget. And from that clown Eric Adams, the whole place was a mess. So if somebody like him is able to do it, it can be done. It's just, do people want to do it? And I don't think they do, because there's too much money to be made in corruption, especially in the South.
So just a quick look here, because this whole thing about socialism.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a list of companies that 47's government has invested in.
Okay.
U.S. Steel, MP Materials, USA Rare Earth, Intel, Trilogy Metals, Lithium Americans, Vulcan Elements, Re-Element Technologies, Westinghouse, X-Lite, and NVIDIA.
I don't know if that's socialism or cronyism.
Well, there we go. There you go. It's from 47. It's all pay for play, so he's getting some return on that.
Absolutely. And why do you think he picked NVIDIA? NVIDIA has like the most valuable stock.
Why is American money going in that company?
It shouldn't be. To
invest in that company. Here's the funny thing.
Invest in your people.
I'd be very curious to see how much NVIDIA pays in taxes.
Oh, and not just NVIDIA. All of these companies.
Yeah. The Big Ten. The Big Ten. The Big Ten. Katrina says more red states receive more help from the government and social. Yes, that is true.
Absolutely. That's why I'm like, look, I could go back to New York. It's not a problem. The South can secede. And while I love some Southerners, right? You all are causing problems. You exist because of blue states. You get more. We pay so much more, and I'm telling you as a New Yorker, so much more for you all to have. Yet you consistently vote against the best interests of everybody. So I'm just like, well, stop paying for them. Stop giving them anything. We're tired. New Yorkers are tired, okay?
Katrina says they have the audacity.
They have the cornbread audacity to vote against the best interests. It's not even just their own, it's of everybody. Because you somehow think a Bible that you wrote told you how you should vote. And then you have the audacity, the collard greened audacity to then involve clergy in it. How very dare you? So, I mean, since you all want to do that, you can stay on your own. Not a problem. We don't have to pay anything.
Good. Katrina says, absolutely. And that's a whole nother conversation. 47 wants to eliminate the difference between church and state. That's another conversation.
Nope, keep it there. Keep it there. I have there's separation of church and state for a reason. And you see what is happening as the church, or their version of church, because that's not church. That's not what Jesus did. That's not what God wants. Their version of religion and their version of church is slowly creeping in. And it really is beginning to show us, or is showing us, what the people or the so-called religious in this country, how they operate and what they really think and feel. And it's contrary to any religious book. But they have hidden behind the Bible in particular to do these dastardly deeds.
So, question for you, Dr. Tachi, is saying, so how is the left the best choice? Please explain.
I didn't say the left was the best choice.
No, I don't think you did.
No,
Katrina
I didn't say that at all.
Katrina says, I'm more disappointed in Black MAGA.
I'm like, oh gosh. Well, those are people that have been excommunicated from the Black community, in my opinion, so they matter not. Don't come to me to ask for advice, for help, or any of that. Ask your God, Mr. Him.
Well, here's an interesting comment. Someone says religion was created when the first con man met the first fool.
You know, Religion is actually a human-made thing. There is spirituality, which is universal, but religion itself is a human-made thing. And it has been used to pacify, to enslave, to con, and to fool since the beginning of time. And I'm saying this as a Christian.
Another comment here, separation of church and state means the government can't overstep religious freedom.
Correct.
And the same comment here says people have no idea what that even means. And we're not going to go down the religious path today. We're going to get out of it quick, but I'll put one or two more comments up. Someone saying the Bible is a fictional book based on fictional characters believed by gullible, weak-minded people. That is an opinion. I'm not going to go into that.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yes. Also here saying an invisible man that lives in the sky that knows every move and every thought, loves money. All right. Katrina says the left is the lesser evil at this point.
Yeah. And it's sad when we're like sitting there like, now which one is the lesser evil? Which fried chicken will make me less fat? Popeyes or Kentucky Fried Chicken? It's sad when your choices are Popeyes or Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they all will clog your arteries, right? At some point.
Oh my gosh. Another person saying the world works without any beliefs.
You know, I'll just really say this, and I think it's okay not to believe in a higher power if you don't want to, or not to have a belief system. I just know for many people, like for me, for example, I just couldn't picture myself not having a sense of something bigger than myself. And having seen it work, that's one thing. But then for other people, that is not their thing. And I think that's okay. I mean, I think that's also the point of separation of church and state, right? So that you can't be persecuted for those beliefs.
Jazzy Jeff Muse says in the car and California is sick of red states.
Listen, we how do they say it in vernacular? We's tired. Okay?
We's tired.
We's tired.
And this person saying big shout out from Ireland. Great live, by the way. Thank you.
From Ireland. We're in Ireland. Let us know
Tuning in
what's
for Ireland. Good stuff. Another person saying the left has lost followers because of its LGBTQ. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
And you know, the thing is, I think that if that is the reason that you don't want to support the left, or that you overly support the Bible because you think that's what it says, then I think you're too worried about the wrong things. If we would spend more time worried about the right things, that wouldn't even be an issue. In my opinion, that wouldn't be a problem. I think everybody has the right to self-determination. I think everybody has the right to express in fruitful ways, right? The things that they want to express. So, but you are entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, we'll do one or two more comments. We'll move on to another conversation topic. Says they keep going in that. If they keep going in that direction, we will never see another Democratic president again because of that.
You know, that's an opinion. But you know, let's look at all the other quote unquote sins that the Republicans have. You can't pick one quote sin, and I'm not saying it's a sin, but you can't harp on one sin, but let all these other things go by the wayside, like starting wars for no reason and greed and all. You can't pick.
Okay. Why waste your short time on pondering about what brought us here instead of live without concerns and beliefs about this so-called greater power? Okay, we are stopping on this conversation topic. We're going to move to a next one. All right. Since Africa is near to dear to many of our hearts, was hearing about this story this week and thought I'd get Dr. Tachi and I to maybe chat about 47 administration to phase out HIV funding for South Africa. And just going to pull up a story here
Yeah, please.
on this screen. Okay, we got this here. So this is from PBS. So the U.S. State Department has said it would begin, quote, that it would, quote, begin a phased drawdown, unquote, of the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, or PEPFAR, a program that has supported South African battle against HIV and AIDS for the last 20 years and is widely credited with saving more than 20 million lives over that period. The phasing out of most programs is expected to be completed by the end of September, with critical personnel support continuing through March of next year, according to the U.S. State Department. South Africa has the highest number of people living with HIV, with approximately 8 million people, or about 12.7% of the 63 million population. The country was singled out for halting of financial aid in addition to broader foreign aid cuts announced by 47 in the executive order of 2026. 47 announced a halt to all financial aid to the country following month, citing political issues which incited South Africa's Black economic empowerment policies and widely disputing the allegations of genocide against the white minority. He also cited South Africa's land expropriation laws as targeting white Afrikaners and condemned the country's actions against Israel at the International Court of Justice, where it has accused Israel of committing genocides in Gaza. Israel vehemently denies the allegation, has said that the attack by Hamas-led militants on southern Israel on October 7th, which killed 1,200 people, was itself a genocidal act. So we can go further, but again, this is all based on politics, and so many people are going to be losing their lives again. And funny enough, the PEPFAR policy, the only country in the world that's getting withdrawn from it is South Africa. And on top of it, this is what's in the last year. So the Supreme Court, with its rulings, now it's going to be 47, and his team will get rid of a lot of Haitian immigrants. And the only people that are being allowed in the United States as immigrants right now are white Afrikaners from South Africa. Dr. Tachi, what do you have to say?
That's fine. They don't belong in South Africa anyway. I'm sorry.
Lord.
Nobody is ever going to convince me of this. You are guests there. I'm saying this as an African. You are guests there. You had no business there in the first place. You still have the audacity to own like 90%. I forgot what the exact number is, if it's 93% or whatever of the wealth in that country that is not yours. You have no business there. So if you want to come here, by all means, please pack your straw bags and come here. No problem. I'm sure you'll be right at home. And I'm sure you'll be just like the ones that came here before, realizing it is not streets paved with gold when you get here. They probably would have rather stayed where they were, because they have the upper hand and the advantage where they are, despite the ANC being in charge. So that's one thing. And I don't care who doesn't like it. You don't belong there. You're still causing problems there. Number two, there is no genocide. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that.
There is not.
Do you remember the press conference a few years ago when the president of South Africa was doing that press conference with 45, and all of a sudden 47 shows this film of all these graves? It was fraudulent. BBC had reporters going to that space. There was nothing there.
Well, are we surprised that fraud and 47 are in the same sentence? No, that's what they do to prove their point. They manufacture and they lie. So there is no genocide. The thing that we do see happening now are the levels of Afrophobia. And even with that, I'm cautioning Africans to be careful with this whole thing. It's annoying. And as someone who is African but not South African, I'm like, did you forget who helped you during apartheid? Did you forget? It seems you have. But even with all of that, all of this is a tool to maintain divisions. So we need to stop being so willing to accept the word of people who are lying and liars. Let's call them what they are, liars. So with the administration to phase out the funding, this is really going to have a profound effect on women and children in South Africa. So it's affecting, but it's really going to, they're the most vulnerable populations in South Africa. This is something that will affect them. It is, and if we want to go back to it, when we talk about this aid that is going there, it is not just a humanitarian thing to do, but do you think the U.S. had nothing to do with fleecing South Africa? This is almost penance. This is almost penance. In fact, Western countries, you owe, because you fleeced Africa as a whole so much, you owe a great deal. Honestly, Western countries should be bankrupt now with reparations because of what they stole from the continent and what they owe the continent. These major cities all over the world in Western countries are built up and basically lined with gold because of wealth that was extracted from Africa, because there's nothing there. What does the US produce? We don't have any natural resources here. Neither does Europe. So they go to other places so they can steal and usurp. And that's what they did. So part of it, I'm not saying this is exactly the way it happened, but in my mind, part of this restoration is or reparative justice is by programs like this, right? Programs like this that the State Department, et cetera, has. So now you want to end it, but you're not ending it because we've run out of money. Clearly, you've squandered lots of money and pocketed, I'm sure, lots of it. So it's not that. It's because it is for political reasons. Just as you said. Absolutely, okay. Thieves.
More comments here. Cool. Tell South Africa to do that. It isn't America's job to cure them. And if the problem's so bad, maybe we should not let the new South Africans in.
But the Boers are here, so it's too late. Those Afrikaners are here, so it's too late.
Katrina says, unless it's white South Africans being affected again, there is no white genocide. Katrina also says, I don't want them here either. Let them go to Europe. Time, good to hear. See, always keep God first and yourself closer. Always remember your health is your true wealth.
Amen.
So, Katrina says, I'm not surprised at all. Time says we have the greatest liar in the Washington Orange House. And okay, wow, there's a lot all of a sudden a whole bunch of comments. Katrina says amen.
Was it something I said?
I don't know. And Time's going, and that's what the Orange Man is doing. He's trying to steal people's resources by being a bully. You never go to war without telling the Congress, especially the American people.
Absolutely. We have a system for a reason, and he bypassed that system.
And then Time is saying, that sounds crazy, but if Africa has something that America needed, we will be definitely over there like China and Russia.
Oh, there's everything that we need over there. Everything. All natural resources in this world, the majority of them come from Africa. The fact that we're even having this conversation now is because of the Congo. Without cobalt, there are no batteries for your laptops. There's no computing, none of that. So that's something, none of that exists here in the US. And
it's funny, maybe there may be some parts of the American government saying, you know what? China beat us to Africa.
That's a whole other conversation with China.
But I think one of Africa's, especially South Africa and Africa's greatest resources, it's its population.
The youngest population in the world. And that's right. A human resource.
Yes, the human resource and human capital that they have is like, so this may date some people, but people do know the name Bill Gates. Founder, right? Many years ago, Mr. Gates was saying, low birth rates. We got to reduce the population. Africa didn't listen. And this is one of the reasons why it's surging because they have those human resources.
Well,
They
listen,
have the population.
here's the thing, just because somebody from the West comes and tells us what to do doesn't mean we're going to do it. Part of the thing with having children in many African cultures is a sign of wealth, whether you can afford them or not. And I'm saying this from personal experience with my family. So that's a thing that they were going to do regardless if King Bill Gates came and said something or not. So they continued doing what they were doing because that is considered a sign of wealth, fruitfulness. So they just kept doing it. So now you have the youngest population on the earth. But this is the thing. It's also, if we're not careful, the youngest population to be exploited because you've already come for raw materials. Now you'll come for workers with promise of all of these different things. I'm also exploitation. And somebody mentioned Russia and China. Yeah, I'm also leery of them. I don't want the West there, but I also am side eye at them too. Why are you there? And we know why. What resources do these countries have? These countries are cold. They don't produce very much. China does produce, but it's manufacturing, right? Manufacturing with materials that come from someplace else. Because you talk about plastic, where does plastic come from? Crude oil. It is a byproduct of oil, and they don't have it. Who does? Nigeria, Ghana. Okay, so it's not a secret when people are over there what they're doing. So I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, the human capital. Time 18188 says all the natural resources, like my beautiful black queen is telling y'all, is in Africa. That's why Russia and China is over there.
Yeah.
Regina says yes. Here's another one from True saying Africa is so big. I remember I got suspended from school for saying that Africa, the continent, is bigger than the United States of America. Why is it so small on the map? True story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts then in regards to the United States cutting this funding, and how's it going to impact? Well, America does. A lot of Americans may not care, but I think one of the reports I did hear, the whole area of AIDS research is going to get a big setback.
Yeah. Here's the thing too. I still think, especially for us in this country, because it is controlled, there are so many people that are living with HIV that is undetectable because of the drugs that are available. And so we don't necessarily see this as a problem like we did in the 80s and 90s. Remember, it was a big thing all over the news, everywhere. Lots of initiatives were going towards AIDS research, HIV and AIDS research. But because it is now like a controlled chronic illness in this country, we don't see it as important to deal with it as much. So I think that's also the thought process some of us have. Like, why is that still an issue? Because it's really just a chronic illness at this point. Yeah, it is if you have the access to the right medication, which they may not.
And I think this is a fact that this viewer is saying the United States produces the most oil in the world. They do. I'm pretty sure that is a fact that the United States is the biggest oil producer in the world.
Absolutely. But does that mean they want to use it?
Which is another thing too. When they kidnapped the president of Venezuela, 47 saying, come on, oil producers, go back and go get some more oil. People going, we're producing them what we got to do more.
See, the thing is, the problem here is greed. So to your point, we don't need to get oil from other countries, but we are greedy, so we don't want to spend our own. Like the kid who has their own ice cream, but they want yours.
Yeah.
And that's still another, even if we have our own here, you still want more. Have we not learned from what's happening here? There is enough, but we still want more. Do you have to be a trillionaire? Let's use Muskrat as an example. Who needs to be a trillionaire? Do you there is more than you could ever spend in several lifetimes in that. Do you need that? No, but you want that. And that is the mindset that's the problem here. Because this would not be a problem. There would be no war, because if the fact that we produce enough oil was enough here, there would be no meddling in West Asia, what some of you might call the Middle East. It's West Asia, because Middle East of where? That's a colonizer term that was come up with. So there would be none of this if we were satisfied with what we had, but we're not, which is why we keep meddling in different affairs. All you have to do is look at what's happening in oil producing countries. It's very simple.
Time 188 says Africa is the land of gold, silver, diamonds, and pearls, and great people, by the way.
Yes, I have to say that.
There you go. And this commentary flame says the United States don't need oil from any other. They don't.
You don't.
They don't.
But they're looking for it.
Yes, Katrina says the term drill, baby, drill. I remember that terminology.
They love it.
And just saying, another person saying we are the superpower and we big boy everyone else. Yep. But you know what's happening? This war, the Hormuz War, is not making America look like a big boy anymore.
And there's actually I just read this is from the Pew Center for Research, and you all can look it up if you like. It was about the trustworthiness as a partner, how whether or not other people in other countries see the U.S. as a trustworthy partner, and it was
not anymore.
No, not anymore. And that's not a position that you want to be in as a country that has to exist on a planet with other people. It's not even just about being corny and saying stronger together. You need other people. This place doesn't really produce much else. Let's be clear.
Okay. Katrina says 48 makes me sick, and she corrects 47 makes me sick. And another person saying it's also not a fossil fuel. It's the second most prevalent liquid on the planet. Another person saying it's all part of the plan we call monopoly and control the world. Katrina says, yeah, that's okay. He can take the money with him.
He can't, exactly.
Well, the funny thing is, he's building a bunker underneath the White House, so he may want to just hang out there if he's going to leave. It says 47 makes us look weak. Others are laughing at us. I'm so embarrassed.
And that is true. But there are still, especially these European countries, are holding on to the hope that there's some glimmer of good somewhere. There is not. There is not. Why are you all? Because I keep looking, I'm like, why are you all taking so long to sanction or to really say anything? There's this thing, and just because the U.S. has always been an ally and has always been a partner does not mean that it will always be the case. It fluctuates like the wind depending on who's in office, especially now it has fluctuated so far to the, I guess, proverbial right. So why are you being so soft with it? So I just look at Europe with a side eye when I'm like, come on, Europe. You know what's happening here is not right, but you just have the idea of the U.S. as an ally and all of that, and you refuse to now receive that this person may not really be your friend.
Time 188 says China and the Orange Man's best friend Putin get their resources from Iran. Putin has a great relationship with Iran, and with Iran holding serve with the United States in war. Watch out. Katrina says 47, he can run, but he can't hide.
Can he run? If we're telling the truth here, can he run?
Sharon says there was government records, only 100 illegals attempted to vote since 2020. Katrina says these people are in denial. Katrina says 47 manipulates the market. Well, that's another thing. People are saying in regards to the Hormuz War, he does because he thinks that the be all and end all is the stock market.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That's what he cares about, the stock market. As he said a few weeks ago, I don't care about inflation.
Well, things that don't affect him, he's not going
Yeah.
to care very much about. And none of this really affects him directly. As someone who is in public office, he is insulated from a lot of this. As a private individual in business, yeah, he probably would have been out there with a sign if he can spell and putting things out there. But now, because he's insulated from a lot of this, so he's not going to care. And this is what we have to say. And this is not just for Mr. Him. This is for all, public officials in general. Are they really often looking out for our best interests? Can they identify with what these best interests are because they're so far removed? I blame us. Here's the thing: we're sitting here and we're blaming all these other outside forces. Let's take some responsibility. This is us. There was a segment of the population that allowed for these people to get into office. There was a segment of the population who didn't take it seriously that this was going to be the case. There were people that didn't vote because they either thought they're not going to win, or it's not going to be so bad, or they just bloody didn't care. So this is us. If a government fails, that is the failing of the people as well. Sometimes the government does things outside of it. We understand that. But who put them there in the first place?
Okay. We're going to do a few more comments and then we got to move on to some of the topics. The family is all in during this conversation today, and we appreciate your
family.
Time 18188 says, don't forget when 47 won the presidency, he had a private meeting with Putin. Nobody knows what that means and was about. And Putin was a KGB officer. Don't trust him, China, or Germany. Another person says the petrodollar is what drives the entire economy, always has. Absolutely. Well,
you're right. Yeah.
The American dollar, because that's the currency of the world at the time. Katrina says he also says he doesn't care about affordability. Yeah, he said that affordability was a Democratic hoax. Okay. Don't forget, this is the same president that did not do nothing when the Capitol got rushed by his buddies and the po' boys. Yeah, then he just
not the po' boys.
No. What's the name of the
Proud Boy? But he's calling them the po' boys, like the sandwich from Louisiana. Yeah.
Yes. What's the name of the? Oh, no, I can't remember the name of the group. But okay.
The Proud Boys?
Proud Boys. That's it. That's right. Katrina says 47 can't relate to the everyday citizen. Also,
and he was never the everyday citizen to begin with. This is why I don't get the fascination. He was never you. Never. There
was a CIA agent, I believe, 17 years, David Rush, who had bar goals. What do you do with gold bars at your home and stealing money from the government? He's going to get 35 years. Okay.
Wow.
Someone's saying we don't put them there. They already know who the next president will be.
So that's true. That's true. But the thing is, we have to buy into that. And too many of us buy into it. So you're right. I truly believe this is it's like moving up day from kindergarten. You don't really get, you're just moving up. So I do see that, but I also see that too many of us buy into that and don't do enough to quell that.
Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh, we love flavoring.
He was born with a gold spoon. Another person saying no president ever was us. You have to have money and donors.
Yes, no, and that's 100%. So it's no president ever was. I would have to say that so Barack Obama didn't come from a lot, right? Michelle Obama didn't come from a lot. They had to work their way to that point. But by the time you work yourself to the point where you are electable for president, you're already in a different league altogether. He was already a senator, right? Even though a junior senator, he was a senator already. So he already had political connections, etc. So even though you have the people on your side, you still need those ties and those connections. So you're right.
All right, we're getting off this topic. We're moving to another one.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg told Meta to build a prediction markets app. What is Arena? So, Dr. Tachi, give us a little background of what this whole thing about prediction markets. What
Absolutely.
are they? Calci. I've heard of that. I hear that all the time. But what are prediction markets? And again, another thing that people say, Mark's just stealing another idea.
It is. This is okay. So for you all that don't know, I call Meta / Facebook master of none, because they do a lot of things, but no one thing particularly great. Okay. So if you ever hear me say master of none, you know who I'm talking about. So again, this is not my huge thing, but prediction markets are it's basically like gambling, right? On the future of something or what will take place, right? So Kalshi is a big thing. In fact, what was the controversy that was happening with Kalshi? I'm trying to remember, where people were betting on, what were they betting on?
Oh, well, one was, there was one guy who was part of the force that went in and kidnapped Maduro, and he got caught betting on that.
Yes, that one. But then there was something else too.
But you know what? What I'll do while you're thinking, I'm actually going to pull up and read from a story, a little bit of background on prediction markets.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from Reuters, saying prediction markets surge in popularity during the 2024 U.S. presidential election and have evolved into an asset class that lets investors wager on a variety of events, from monetary policy to sports tournaments.
Yes.
So trading platforms such as Robinhood and active brokers have rolled out event contracts. The Times said that the app is internally, so this is Arena, said the app is internally referred to as Arena by Meta, that will function independently from its social networking apps, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger.
Yes.
So prediction markets could balloon to 1 trillion in annual trading volumes by decade's end. But they have also drawn increasing security, as well-timed trades ahead of 47's major policy surprises have potentially led to millions of dollars in profits for unknown traders. And also, too, I don't know which one, but one of the prediction markets, one of 47's sons is on the advisory board.
Yes. It's not Kalshi.
I'll see if I can find out right here.
So this is really, I shake my head at this novel that we live in every day, and I'm like, can I turn the page and get out of it? And the answer is always no. The answer is always an overwhelming no. So as you're doing that, so what it's going to be, they're looking now at developing this app. It's going to be a phone app similar to the way Kalshi is in Polymarket. And this was according to Reuters and the New York Times. And what they're saying is it's probably going to rely on gamification, like a video game point system, instead of users wagering money. But Meta has not ruled out betting real money eventually. And good and damn well, real money is coming. So they're saying that now, but they really, look, I think that Zuckerberg sees this as a tremendous money grab. I don't know how long it's going to stay around. What happens with Meta is, as soon as they see someone enter a market, they too think that they can enter that market and profit off of it. But here's the thing with Meta. They generally don't give a lot of time before they sunset something and figure out and say it hasn't worked, whether it actually hasn't worked or they just got bored with it, or it, whatever the case may be, they're pivoting. They come up with new things all the time and they don't follow through. How many things can you name, Dr. Vibe, that Meta has come up with and stuck with?
Can't name it. Too many of them, if any.
Not too many. And Dr. Vibe and I know each other through the live streaming world. And Meta, or Facebook at the time, came into the live streaming world through later in the game. They came after Meerkat and after Periscope. So it entered the game. Now, out of Meerkat and Periscope and some of the other ones, they're still the only ones doing live streaming, but you can see they're pulling back on things. So for example, your lives only stay up for 30 days before they go away. That to me is a signal of, we're looking to pivot or dismantle this altogether. It may not be tomorrow, but it's coming. So I'm saying this to say that Meta has a habit and has a history of taking on new projects and then quietly they go away or they're sunsetting. And I mean, their metaverse, the meta worlds, that's gone.
Yeah.
They pummeled a lot of money. And if you ask me, they named themselves Meta because they thought they were going to be a major player in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Which, if you ask me, does that make sense?
So Katrina says, sounds like a scam in my opinion. A scam like 47 Bitcoin. Okay, so I did do some quick research while Dr. Tachi was sharing with us. So back on January 13th, 2025, Kalshi names 47 Jr. as a strategic advisor.
It was Kalshi.
Yes, prediction market firm. So, and the Kalshi move is the latest in a string of post-election partnerships between 47 Jr. and various companies. Okay,
so now if we look at that, this even brings a more interesting angle to this, because if Meta is trying to do this same thing, what is that going to mean regulation-wise for him, especially since the son of the person in charge is on the board or involved with another competitor? I'm waiting to see this. Not if I can't get out of this novel, neither can any of you. But we just have to wait and see. You have to stay in it too. You can't turn the page either.
Yep. It's a very interesting. Got to keep a watch on this.
Yeah.
Meta. So Meta aims to grow the app by leveraging its large social networking audiences and directing them toward using it. In April, the company reported 3.56 billion daily active people, metric that uses to track unique users who open any one of its apps. So every day, over at least 3.5 billion people use an app that Facebook owns.
And this is a great number, which in theory should work. But are these all people who understand what trading is, what betting in this capacity is? No, they don't. So I don't know that you can count the fact that you already have this amount of people. There's going to be a small fraction that are maybe interested, but the rest of the people don't even know what to do with it, which is why I say this is not going to last very long. I could be wrong. And I don't want to, Meta, I do want you to make money, but based on your past, I don't know how long you're going to stick with this.
Well, and so the two biggest players in the prediction markets are Kalshi and there's another firm called Polymarket.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two. Now, from what I've heard by reports, they're not going to reward people with money. They're going to do something else.
No, it's going to be like video game points. So it's gamification. Yes. So rather than it being cash, but they're not ruling out cash. So they're going to start with video game like points, but they're going to move out. They're saying they're not ruling out cash, which means they're going to move to cash eventually.
Wow, we got a lot of good. So flying comments here, and another one that came up indirectly, but we'll get to it. So someone saying,
you got some smart people here.
Yeah, well, you're not sharing it to your platform, but they're here. I still think Bitcoin is a good investment. The fiat dollar was never meant to last. Another person saying,
I agree.
All the inflation we are headed towards a reset. Fiat dollar is backed by nothing.
Not a damn thing. I agree.
Let's go. Another comment here. They want a cashless society to track what everyone does.
And that is not far off. That's not far-fetched, because if you think about some of the things that are happening, even though it may seem minor, taking things like pennies out of circulation. So the more you take fiat out of, and hard cash out of out of circulation, the more you move towards because I'm guilty of this. I think I've had that same $20 bill in my wallet for a good 2 years, because all I do is use my cards when I go somewhere.
Yes.
Because it's easy. I don't have to think about it. If you have a phone, it's connected to, you don't have to do this. So this is something they already do in China. China is already cashless. So you can't go to China and pay for things in cash. Maybe very few places, but they are largely a cashless society.
Okay, and they're saying they want a cash so to track it, and then the same person says, "I'm in the cannabis industry.
Oh,
The government is all about tracking our money."
absolutely. Oh, well, I have a really good friend who is heavy into the cannabis industry, and she's doing amazingly.
So, indirect. Someone wants your comment and maybe mine on this. What do you think about 47's daughter and son-in-law buying an island in Ukraine where they are not wanted?
When has that ever stopped them before? I'll say that.
The protests about that are going on there. But here I found really Katrina, did you hear the interview done with 47's daughter about how they came up with this idea? Oh my gosh. Like it was like so unrelatable. Oh, we were on vacation and we were swinging. Oh my God. Like I'm going, really? I'm going, it was, I don't get involved in comments. It was so unrelatable and so grift. It just turned me right off. And I put hands up, or pretty much saying the people are protesting about it. Do it. Do it.
Absolutely. I think, but the thing is, they think that their money insulates them from all of, and to a certain extent it does. So they don't care.
No, they don't.
It doesn't matter. 2 billion people could come. They could care less.
No, they don't. They don't.
It only matters if they somehow lose money. That's the only time it matters.
So Katrina says, yes, they are lying rich people. And these people here, you're great today, saying she's right. Yes, Dr. Tachi is right. And
I try to be right. This is, as Dr. Vibe knows, this is like lightly my wheelhouse. It's not even.
But that's why you're so good, because you're not so entrenched in it. And Katrina says about 47's daughter and her son-in-law, who, man, is he making a pile of money.
Shameful. Just damn shameful. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's another couple. Man, are they flying good underneath the radar? Not saying a word and collecting that money. Jared Kushner.
Raise your hand if you're tired of all of this. I am I think a lot of us are just weary.
Yeah,
we are just tired of this whole thing.
But
that is exactly. They're trying to wear you down. They're trying to wear you down. Exactly. But when I say tired, it doesn't mean we're tired enough to take it, but we're just tired. It's like, damn, something else. When you wake up, every day I wake up and I see something like, oh hell, really? That is the first thing that comes out of my mouth. If I look at something, oh hell, because I'm like, really? Aren't you all tired? Not even us. Aren't you people tired? Because it takes so much energy to keep up this level of debauchery. Lots of energy. I don't get it. I'm glad you have all that time, because we certainly don't.
Well, again, flood the zone.
You're right.
This is interesting. Someone's saying, Zuckerberg is weird. I was the superintendent over a Facebook data center over a decade ago.
Wow.
That must have been interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's go to our final conversation piece. Media people, iHeartMedia. You may not know them, but they are a fairly big media house, but they are announced layoffs. And this is a growing trend in the media industry. And Dr. Tachi has the pulse on what's going on in the media industry. What are your the comment by they said was like a military compound about working in the data center.
Oh gosh, wow! I could just imagine the lack of freedom you felt being there.
Oh yeah, wow. iHeartMedia layoffs. Thoughts?
Well, when we talk about media layoffs, it's not just iHeart, okay? This is across the board in media. As we've started to see the consolidation and the mergers and acquisitions of a lot of these media companies, usually with that comes layoffs, that comes firings, or restructurings, right? So for iHeart, this is actually part of a restructuring plan for them. And apparently this is supposed to lead to $50 million of annualized cost savings by doing this. So they have staff cuts that are happening. They're also restructuring their radio programming, and they sent a memo to their executives this week, or to the employees this week. And what they did is outline the need for them to speed up the sales process after, quote, building new tech capabilities over the past few years. So the fact that they've improved technology, they're saying, is necessitating this move. But it doesn't say the exact number of employees that are going to be impacted. And they haven't really commented on that yet. But there are reports, according to people familiar with the matter, that have put it in the dozens. So let me read what they said. We also know that our sellers need faster and easier to use information about our programming, talent, and audiences. Faster is better, and that's the goal of our change. With that in mind, we've built new tech capabilities over the last several years that have enabled us to both deepen our relationship with listeners and communities who depend on us, and improve the support we provide to our sellers. We're now moving to scale this approach, implementing structural changes within our programming organization. Now, whenever you hear these things, again, that's restructuring, that's mergers and acquisitions, but this is also the hallmark of a company that's publicly traded that wants to deliver for their shareholders. Whenever there are layoffs, whenever there are increases in prices, like for subscribers, shareholders are happy, because what does that mean? More dividends for them. Never mind that people are affected, real people are affected by this. The allegiance is to the shareholders, not the employees.
I think that's one of the things that's changed, especially over the last number of years. There was a time where a company's main commitment was to its employees. Now it's to the shareholders.
Absolutely.
100%. Flame Train says AI is starting to do most of the work.
You know, AI is doing a portion of the work, most definitely. When you can do things like schedule, when you can, and it was even before AI, because think of the rise of radio stations that did not have a physical location, that did not have regular DJs. And you come from the radio world too, so you understand that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this was there, everybody was all up in arms. They're like, oh, well, this is going to mean less jobs but they did it anyway, right? And what happened? We had to adjust. And actually what happened was the rise of internet radio, was the rise, huge rise in that, right? Was the rise of audio apps. That's what happened as a result. So I think with AI, what's going to happen is there will be another adjustment period. And remember, people have AI fatigue right now. So there is pushback to these types of things. So people that are really relying on AI to create a whole bunch of content, to run radio stations, etc., they have to be very careful, because none of this exists without listeners. And if listeners are turned off by AI, booing it everywhere they go, that could mean a lot for your bottom line.
Yeah, I think definitely. And it's interesting because the times I do listen to radio, it's via the internet. But people, if you listen to a lot of shows that have co-hosts, most of the time, well, even if they have single hosts, again, and also the impact on this in regards to the world of radio was the pandemic. Had a huge impact. Like I do listen to a number of shows, and a number of them have hosts. There's one show I listen to somewhat regularly. One of the hosts is in LA. The other host is in Nashville, Tennessee.
You don't have to be in the same room anymore.
All doing it from home. Like especially many a station now that your show you're listening to, if it's radio, the person's doing it from their home, especially if it's a call-in show, even more so. Now it's funny, and it's another conversation, but yes, everyone's got into podcasting, but it's the old game. Only 20% of, not even less, podcasts make substantial amount of money.
Exactly, because remember the margins, even though they're changing, the margins are lower than in traditional mainstream media.
Yes.
So the advertising dollars, while you're talking about thousands and millions for traditional media, it's not like that in the podcast world. You're talking about cost per millim. So it's about, a few dollars, if that, per play, per 1,000 downloads. So it's a different metric that we're working with here. Absolutely.
So people, if we always say, and Dr. Tachi and I say, if you want to make money in podcasting, really?
Oh, I need you to go get a 9 to 5 if that's the
really.
And not that you can't. We're not trying to discourage you, but the likelihood that you will on its own is slim, because most people that have podcasts, there are other things that they do with it. It is multiple streams of income.
Marketing.
You can't just
podcast is a marketing thing, not a revenue generator. Marketing.
Exactly.
So we got some flame. This is interesting. Exactly why all these data centers are being built, and it's happening in car plants as well. AI robots, less people. Saying my website is even built in AI. That's built in AI that I refuse to use. And he says he's located in Tennessee. Okay.
Oh, hey, Tennessee.
And he's tried. Have you tried to make money in podcasting?
Yeah, I think that's what he means.
More to that, but yeah, the whole world of radio and media is ever changing. And I'm sure by the end of the summer, we'll probably be chatting on this platform with Dr. Tachi about the impending David Ellison takeover of CNN or Warner Brothers Discovery. So that'll affect television, a whole pile of things.
I want you, and I'm doing a plea now. I really want you all to support shows like Dr. Vibe.
What Dr. Tachi does.
Yeah, and what I do. Support independent journalism, support independent content creation, because we're not beholden to anybody, so we can say what the hell we like. So you'll get the truth from us. But it's also, this is the world that we have. So Flame, you talked about that you've tried. Maybe now is the time to try again if you're so inclined, because things have changed so much. Because of the mistrust of mainstream media, this opens up a whole world for those of us that are interested in creating independent media. So try again. I mean, if you want to, because I think the time is now.
Us, and we'll give our suggestions. So we're here. We're here to help independent content creators score goals and get wins, right? So okay. Let me just say, okay, we'll end it off on that.
Yeah. So it remains to be seen what happens with those layoffs. We usually with these layoffs, these people are not coming back. So I don't know why they're calling them layoffs, because that indicates that after a time they'll bring them back. They may bring some of them back. I really don't think so.
No, this is why, if you're in mainstream media right now, start something on the side from now.
Do it on the side.
Do it on the side from now. Some more comments here as we start winding it down. Katrina says podcasters might make money depending on their target audience, like the racists who speak poorly of other groups of people.
Go ahead, and I'll respond to that.
No, you can go do it now. Go ahead.
Well, so here's the thing. There may be some money from people who support that, but brands are very leery of putting their name next to content that might bite them in the back of the head later. So even if now it seems like, oh yeah, because 47's in office, we can say whatever the hell we like. That's not always going to be the case. So a smart brand is thinking down the line, is this going to be the best use of our advertising dollars? Because people will find out and they won't want to patronize us. And that affects the bottom line when it comes to that. So they may get Patreon money from people who agree. And there may be some brands who don't give a damn and they agree. But by and large, the larger brands are not going to advertise with them because it reflects on their brand and they're there to make money. So if you lose that money, it's not going to go well.
Got it. All right, a few more comments we've got here. Got this here. All right, so Flame says, gonna have to try something else come November. The farm bill loophole is gone. Aye.
Are you a farmer? Let us know.
Okay. Katrina says, was Charlie Kirk a podcaster at first? I believe he was.
Yes.
Okay. And Flame says, not all of us white folks are like that. We never said all of you were.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely
the person
not.
saying smart brands care only what's popular. What's popular isn't always what's right.
Well, but here's the thing. People care about what's right. So if you only do what's popular, after a while that comes back to bite you in the back of the head. Believe me. Let's look at our friend Tarjay. We could talk about that all day. And they did what they thought was the popular thing to do. And what happened? It came back to bite them. So your reputation as a brand is so fragile, especially in the age of social media, where people can call you out on what you do. It's not like before. Remember, before social media, that's why people did what the hell they liked. Companies did what the hell they liked without repercussions, because there was no way to call them out. You could write them letters with a self-addressed stamped envelope and send it to someplace in Kankakee, Illinois. For those of you that get the reference, back in the 80s, remember, you were always sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to Kankakee, Illinois for something. So you could do that all you like, and it's not going to make any difference back then. But now I can tag you, hey, at XYZ company, you did this. And then all my cronies will come in. You don't want that smoke. It is easier for smooth sailing. So that's why brands have to be very careful. They generally are. But there are those brands who just don't care. And they'll be okay with advertising alongside what's popular because they don't have vision.
Okay. And someone in the chat said, no, he wasn't. Charlie Kirk was a podcaster. He hosted the Charlie Kirk Show, which became one of the most popular conservative political podcasts in the United States. So just wanted to correct that. Let's some other comments here. Podcasters. Yeah, there's okay. Who's gone? Okay, there. Okay, like that. Okay, here we go. So Flame is saying the 2018 Farm Bill created a loophole that made cannabis legal to ship to all 50 states. Katrina says, because I have white family members and friends who are lovely people. Flame is talking not CBD, I'm talking THC.
Oh, okay.
And then Jazzy Jeff says, Flame, trust we know each, because not all skin folk are kinfolk.
My favorite saying.
And then shareholders of billion-dollar companies don't care about bottom hardworking people. They care about their pockets by pocket of capitalism.
They could give a damn. They don't. And I think we have to remember I asked this was it not last week or was it on your show? Listen, I've been on too many shows lately, so I can't remember where I said where. But I asked, this was on Ron's show. Okay. Last week on Touch Base Daily. I asked, can you be a conscious capitalist? Can you be a capitalist and still have a sense of morality? Is that possible?
Good question. Good question. All right. Yes, Jazzy. Okay. Flame says, yes, Jazzy agreed. Vision says capitalism. Heart bites, as you just mentioned. And Flame says, yes, you definitely can.
Okay.
All right. All right. That's it. We had a soft end. We had a different end now. So that is it. All right. First and foremost, want to say thank Dr. Tachi for taking her time, because she's been on a whole pile of shows this week. So getting her was not easy. So how did we get a hold of Dr. Tachi?
Linktree. If you all the stuff I do is there on that Linktree link. I am the founder of IndieSoup Media, an independent network for independent content creators. I'm also the host and founder of MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture, which happens Friday evening. Still on sabbatical, but I'll be back. And a video series called Be More, where I teach you to be better, wiser, and smarter when making videos, live streams, and content. So you can find all that information at my Linktree if you're interested.
Wonderful. Katrina says, thank you, beautiful.
Thank you.
Follow Dr. Tachi, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And
please do. You might be interested in the stuff I do.
We also, and we don't forget the foundation of this show, which is LaLa Key. You can get a hold of her at laurikey.net. Her Etsy store is etsy.com/shop/living the LaLa life. And also you can find her Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/rebirth of LaLa. Also, Aisha K. Staggers, Instagram, AK Staggers, Medium, akstaggers.medium.com, Blue Sky at akstaggers.bsky.social, Friend of Media, friendofmedia.com, and Substack, Aisha at Aisha K. Staggers. If you want to find out more about me, easy, one link, toplink.cc/the_VIBESHOW. And all this information is in the comments section in the platforms that you're watching, wherever you're watching it, either live or on the replay. So that is another thing. Also, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and the Dr. Vibe Show website, thedrvibeshow.com. I know there are a few more comments. Well, look at this. Flame, thank you, Flame Train. You were part of this today. Much love to you both. Enjoy the live. Also, I want to make the point. I did see another comment from him here. He just subbed to the channel.
Oh, well, welcome to the fold.
Welcome to the family, and also very good and chill conversation. Thank you. Much thanks. That's fantastic.
We're too tired to be anything else right
now. And also says, both of you stay blessed and healthy. Thank you.
You as well. You as well.
Wonderful. And Dr. Tachi, now you've caused a conversation by your question about can be what capitalists, and what was it again?
Can you be a conscious capitalist or be a capitalist?
I'm going to write that down. That's a show. That's a show title. Can you see? I'm writing, folks, not typing. Be conscious capital. I think that will make a
that would be a good show.
Oh,
I would like to think so, but we don't see very many examples. So,
Okay. See, there's people. Oh, look at this. Someone's saying, I have been the past 6 years.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Can't wait to answer it. Okay, so there
you go.
One for that show. All right.
Yeah.
And look at this, was to hand down my kids. I'm retired. Whoa.
That's awesome.
Whoa.
So come back for that conversation.
We want to hear that story, because that would be an inspiration for so many others.
Absolutely.
No matter what their cultural background, no matter what their cultural background, that's a great legacy statement. That is fantastic.
And I think that's universal.
Yeah.
Across the world, that's what people want.
100%. Well, we are going to, and they go, yes, sir, definitely. Absolutely. All right, we are done. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. We have someone who's done both in our room today, and always make it better. God bless, peace, well, walk good, and we'll see you on the digital streets. And thanks again, Dr. Tachi, and subscribe to Dr. Tachi. Bye.
Yeah.